Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our spoiler-filled discussion for Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord. All right, I'm ready. Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. My name is Nate, and this is our spoiler-filled discussion for Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord Season 1. If you're joining us for the first time, we are Geekcentric, a podcast celebrating the world of movies, TV shows, video games, and all things Geekcentric and all things Star Wars, because we're recording this on the eve of May the 4th, so we're feeling super Star Wars up right now. I got a shirt on that's got Star Wars. I got other items of clothes that got Star Wars on them. But if you're listening to this, by the time you're listening to this, it'll be May the 5th, Revenge of the 5th, maybe Revenge of the 6th, depending on when you're listening to this. But yes, we will have our revenge. There is no way I could hold off the Dark Lord of the Sith plus 2 Inquisitors on my own. No, I need my Dathomirian brother with me. So approaching quietly in the fog, he's Darth Darcy, the dreaded, dark-sided, Dathomirian, hell-haunted Hudson.
Nice. Well, I mean, my Darcy technically means dark one in Gaelic or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
That's
very
dope.
fitting that I am the dark side, I guess.
Dude, I had no idea about that.
Yeah.
So wait, so Dark One, like, I mean, come on,
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Where's the Darcy at?
It's pretty on the nose, which is what Star Wars is known for. So
I don't think there's a single Darcy in Star Wars, though.
no, probably not. I mean, it's a name, but I'm not sure how common it is across, space, I guess.
Yeah. We'll push for it. How are you feeling? You feeling hell haunted lately?
No, but these episodes will stay with me for a while because hot damn, they were so good.
There were definitely some haunting moments. May the 4th be with you, Darcy.
And also with you.
Happy Revenge of the 5th. Do you think it's Revenge of the 5th or Revenge of the 6th? We've never figured that out as fans.
Revenge of the 6th always sounds better to me because it is also the proper spacing.
Right, sis.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Right after doesn't make sense to me. You have a little bit of a break for the Sith to get the revenge, and just Sith 6th sounds closer to me than 5th and Sith.
No, you're right. I think we go with that going forward from now on. Mark it on your calendars. But for us, I think every day is Star Wars Day. Did you do anything today to celebrate? Did you watch any besides obviously Maul Shadow Lord season finale? Did you watch any other Star Wars? Did you partake in any other Star Wars festivities?
Well, on the drive to work and from work, I just listened to some of my favorite John Williams tracks and scores, obviously. And then, not going to lie, I threw in some Royish good looks because his poppy Star Wars songs are always fun to listen to. But then I also I rewatched some of my favorite Visions episodes, starting with that acid trip of a stormtrooper journey from the last season. So.
Oh, Black. Oh, yeah. Man.
I started with that one, and then I went back to my other favorites because I'm like, I got to start here, and then with what time I have left, I'll go to my other favorite ones.
That is a way to kick off a Star Wars watch session. I did not. I watched the finale, the second last and last episode of this season for Maul Shadow Lord, and then I didn't. I think the only other thing I did put on. I was going to put on A New Hope. But I was like, I've seen New Hope like a billion, million, trillion, zillion. I've seen all of them a million times. But I one that I hadn't seen as many times as I think A New Hope. And even though it is my favorite, I put on Empire again, just as I was sort of cleaning up around the house, almost treated like a podcast that was playing in the background. And boy, man, on Disney Plus, I got to say, shout out to Disney Plus. Shout out to all the people that have done all the work. I mean, this isn't so much Disney Plus. It looks great on Disney Plus, but all the people that cleaned up those speaking of cleaning up the original films, they look fantastic. I was like, there were some sequences that came up. I was like, I don't remember it looking that good. I know they've gone in and they've remastered some stuff, but it looks fantastic on that streaming service. So
yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to share this with the younger generations, and it fits the visual tone across the board now because of the retouching. But I can't forgive him for adding CGI monsters in the foreground of those shots in Tatooine. Like,
Oh yeah.
we didn't need those.
No, definitely not. Definitely, I love seeing the Ronto, but I like eating it more. So getting a nice Ronto wrap is always better than whatever. George was like, "Well, we're gonna add this and make it wrong." But I also want to say on our social channels, we did post. It may be gone by the time because they were on our stories, but you can go back and check out our reels and what have you. But we did post, obviously, a bunch of May the 4th memories. I threw some photos up there on my socials. Nate Plays Games, and on at We Are Geekcentric. We also put up a bunch of our different sort of interviews that we've had over the years with the people behind the Star Wars we love. And anytime we get those opportunities, it's just the best. It's just the best.
Mm-hmm.
It was so
Mm-hmm.
good. But listen, we've been keeping up. Darcy, were you keeping? We got to see the first 8 episodes of this show quite a while ago. Did you rewatch them as they were coming out weekly on Disney Plus?
No, I rewatched them all over the weekend because
Okay.
I realized what time it was and that we had the last few
gotta
episodes
get
coming up, and I
going.
wanted to refresh it in my memory.
Yes. Okay. So I love that. I was watching it weekly as it was coming out, just kind of treating it like a Saturday morning cartoon kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Each of the episodes, and so it was as you said, it's a nice way to refresh. But I am so stoked because it feels like it's taken us forever for us to get to these final 2 episodes, and so we're going to talk about that now. Of course, if you want to hear our thoughts on the incredible visuals in the show, the music, the performances, we're probably going to talk a little bit about that here. But if you want to hear our full thoughts, where we go in depth, you can check out our spoiler-free review that we did, where we weren't able to get too deep into the story as much, which is what we are going to do here. So let's have at it. Darcy, this is your chance. Let's talk about this series, this season in spoilerific details. What are some of your favorite moments throughout the first 8 episodes of Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord?
Yeah, I rewatched these, and I all I can think about are the last 2 right now. So
Of course, don't pull what you did with Daredevil.
Yeah, I know.
Jumped right in the
I'm
finale.
trying really hard, but I'm sorry. The last 2 had
We're quite
my
good.
favorite moments from the whole series. So
For sure.
I don't know. Again, this whole series has been so good because the relationship between Maul and Devin just is so interesting. Again, seeing him work with these people, or trying to work with people, or use people to get his revenge. He almost is like he's on our side. He's a good guy, but he's still the villain we know and love. And it's just, this whole season has been a wicked exploration of that. And again, the fact that all the characters have these inner conflicts that are almost on the same level as Maul's inner good fighting his inner bad. Like, it was just, I love this whole season, and it's hard to call it a favorite moment after the way it ended, basically.
Yeah. Well, I think one of my favorite.
You have favorite moments. You tell me.
I've got lots of favorite
Mister.
moments. I've been writing them down.
Throwing me on the spot
I have
there.
too many.
Jeez.
Sorry. Well, okay. Well, so I wanted to say the thing that I love most about this specific show, and we've seen Darth Maul before in the semi-mentor capacity. It was more of a haunting situation in Rebels, but it was very much sort of like there were moments where you're kind of like, I kind of understand where
He
he's
was
coming
trying
from.
to teach Ezra something in that
Right?
at that moment, for sure.
And so, but I think this show, better than anything else, has really, really cemented the concept of teaching the way that your teacher taught you, and that element of sort of the Padawan learner, learning from those mistakes and seeing them happen in real time. I think failure is huge, but one of the biggest things that really stood out to me, and Darth Maul, if you're listening to this, please don't come and kill me for saying this, but I'm sorry, dude, you learned from your master. You learned from Sidious. Everything about this show has showcased how you are just like him, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
In the sense of how you attain power, how you go about getting revenge, and just even just down to the strategic ways in which you get your enemies to kill your enemies. And like you said, Darcy, how you make us think that you're one of our friends and you're absolutely not.
Yeah. Also, not only the he also emulates the way his master fights too. We got to see a Palpatine spin from Maul in this series, which was
Yes.
incredible.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And you see that in the physicality. I think the thing about that though is where this show showcases that and brings that to light as much as possible. It also does showcase where Maul has come from. And there is a scene
Mhm.
that I want to get to talk about. But before I do, one of the incredible moments, and we're talking about his strategy. I think from the first few episodes, I think it was episode, oh man, I want to say 3, maybe 2, where it had me jumping out of my seat. It was the execution of Pike leader Marg Krim, right? Where he sends in Vario, right? They trick him with the decoy of Scorn, and then showing up to use the Force activate saber while it's still in Krim's hand, bisection execution, like Snoke style execution. I was like, I didn't think we'd ever get to see that again. And holy crap, that moment I was like, let's freaking go. And again, it shows us how he's able to find power in the shadows. He's able to find power through deception. He's able to execute his plans and be so strategic more than any other Sith in this show. And I think that was the other interesting thing too about having the Inquisitors in here. You see the difference in approach, right? They're technically both, they're all Sith, but Merrick and Crow are just kind of going straight. They just are like a
buy the books
path.
and they find a track and follow it. Basically,
that's it.
Yeah.
Whereas Maul is nothing like that, and he's so much
he
more
adapts.
strategic. Yeah,
like
yeah.
Oh yeah,
So good, so good. I want to bring up another moment if we're going to get into action. The speeder chase in episode 6, Darcy.
Oh,
come on,
come on, dude! One of the best like chase scenes you've gotten in a long time. Again, this show looks incredible across the board, and the fact that we got such a like visceral chase scene, like it looks so good. It looks so good.
Yeah, and I think the Devin, she speeds in, right, and she's like, "Get in, bitches," and then at least that's how I remember it. And then, she might as well have just said that.
She said, I don't recall her saying bitches,
I think
but I might be. Maybe I was wrong.
Pretty sure. And they're speeding towards the gunship, and then they swoop under it, and Master Daki, who, by the way, I'll admit, I think based on his design, I know people who popped off for it. Right. I know some friends of ours who probably popped off for that. I will say he for me, he didn't fully hit it until this moment. And when he throws that speeder bike up in the air using the Force into getting a 2-for-1 kill, bro, that for me, I was like, oh, so he's Yoda. Like, obviously he's not as powerful as Master Yoda, but he's Yoda. Like, he's giving that Master Jedi element of like, judge me by my size, do you not? Or do you, whatever he says.
Saving his like biggest punch for when it really matters type thing.
So
I agree. Like up until that moment, you're like, oh, this is just some washed up Jedi who doesn't want to use his powers at all. He wants to fade into oblivion and obscurity because the Jedi Order fell. And then we see this moment and it's like, oh no, he's saving himself for when he needs to use it. And when he uses it, oh man, like,
buddy.
Again, some of the moments we got with him, like the lightsaber choreography throughout this whole season has been incredible. Like we were talking about how there was clearly some mocap involved in choreographing these fights, because like you can see pauses and moments of thought throughout these battles that don't seem to happen in animation. Animation happens so fast when as soon as one move fails, they're already moving into the next one. Whereas throughout the series, we really see the thought process through these fights. After one attack misses and they kind of parry back, you got to take a second to figure out how you're going to approach again. And throughout, it's just, I don't know, it's been so cool. It really pulls you into these fight scenes, and the blows land that much harder when they feel so real.
Unbelievable. And the shout out to the sound design, David W. Collins with the mixing. Come on. And Spybot, we'll talk about Spybot. But before we do, I want to talk about another droid in full spoilers. I want to just say justice for Two Boots, because Darcy, we all love two boots. You go back and listen to our spoiler-free review. We're hyping up Richard Adeoye about like all the two bootsness that we possibly can in a spoiler-free capacity. But then I'm hearing, as the show was going on, I'm hearing some hate online. I'm hearing some hate from the new Rockstars crew. I'm hearing some hate from all over the internet, and I'm like, bro, what are you even on right now? Tell me, Darcy, what are some of your spoiler-filled thoughts on the arc of two boots throughout this season?
To me, whenever we see a droid go against its programming in Star Wars, is the most fascinating a droid can be, because they are literally, like, you look at all his brothers, they are identical. They don't have different names as far as we know. They follow the rules and order. This one drinks coffee, or tries to drink coffee, because that's how he bonds with his partner. Oh. He gets his name and derives pleasure from wearing boots for humans, and has an attachment to them where, like, you can see he has never taken them off. When he does lose them, there's a clear line of grime where, like, again, as soon as he got them, they stayed on him, and he loved those boots, and just, he's so charming. And again, just the way that his arc is about him going against his programming to help the people he cares about is so much stronger, because again, it's literally, he's a robot. We talk about how we have it in our DNA, we're in our ways or anything like that, but like, he literally is programmed to do one thing and managed to break his way out of that. And it's just so fascinating. I don't understand how you could not find that cool. Like, absolutely. L3 was one of the best parts of Solo. Why can't we get some love for two boots here?
100%. And that's the other element to it too. It's like, for a human to be one way and then be swayed another through emotion is one thing.
Yeah.
But for it to be a droid, to go against programming that should be literally, physically impossible.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think he's a fantastic character. I can't wait to see where he goes from here. Even him just sort of, and again, we are going to talk about those final two episodes, but kind of going in like the like, I don't, I think he has like one lapse of judgment moment where he's like, oh, we need to report this. But then he's like, that's not important right now.
Yes. Yeah. I think the toxic waste being improperly disposed. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just everyone turning to look at him is just a great moment of droid humor. I love it. Like,
so good.
I don't understand how you can hate the guy.
I don't either. We love you too, Boots. I can't remember. Does he get his boots back?
I don't think so. I'm hoping you gotta hope that Riley gets some some
new boots.
Yeah,
he becomes new boots. Let's go. Listen, Star Wars writers, get us on the crew, okay? We got ideas like new boots. Come on. Now I want to talk just before we get into the final two episodes. I want to talk about one more moment that we brought up in spoiler-free capacity during our spoiler-free, but it is in Chapter 8, The Creeping Fear. And I think it's the reason that it was my favorite episode up until that point. Seeing Maul, he's completely vulnerable. He's forced to have this constant reminder through physical trauma that brings out all the emotional trauma. And then we get those visions, all the visions of how he's failed. He's lost his home, his family, his brother, and it brought me back when he sees Sidious, and he sort of recognizes in that moment. He knew in that moment before that moment, but in that moment it just all comes to a head. Like, all of this ties back to Sidious, and when he screams, "You did this!" it brought me back to Kenobi, the famous Kenobi scream from Rebels. Which, Darcy, on my second watch, I was like, I didn't notice this the first time. But the fact that they are then using that scream to purposely sound, I know it's his scream. He screams like that. But to have that foreshadowing, because in that moment, his vision disappears and there shouldn't be sand where he is, but sand is brushing up against his face. Why? Because he will eventually die at the end of his arc, the end of his story in Rebels on sand. And I just thought it was such smart writing. It just shows how much we've gotten from this character that really didn't feel like he was going to be more than episode 1. For a lot of people, I know for myself, I didn't think anything of, bad guy got chopped in half, is gone, he's dead, whatever.
Yeah, and most people would not return from that.
No, not at all. And the fact that we get to see basically the last 15 years since his return in animation, his story, and even before that, was such a stellar piece of Star Wars writing for just showcasing a character. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we got so much for this character who, like you said, we all wrote off as dead after that first movie is incredible, and it just goes to show how much like Star Wars, the fan, like they do listen to the fans to a certain point, because once they realized how big and how much people were upset that we weren't getting any more Maul, they found a way to bring him back, and that's all thanks to Filoni, because he's just as big a fan of all of us and wants to see these cool characters play in a sandbox, like he always talks about. Like,
Yeah.
he gets to have fun with these toys now, so we're gonna get these awesome stories focusing on these characters that we never would have thought twice of before, which I'm so excited about. Like, it's such a cool time to be a Star Wars fan when a new Star Wars fan is taking the reins so firmly and guiding it in the right direction.
And speaking of Star Wars fans, I mean, dude, I think for Sam Witwer, like that sequence in the tunnel, that is like you just cool, print it, hang it up on your wall. You know what I mean? Like that is your, career. He's obviously done other things in the world of Star Wars. Shout out to the Force Unleashed 2, but like that sequence to me feels like cool. That is like your legacy. Like that is
Yeah.
something you can give your grandchildren and be like, look what I was. Like, it's just unreal. Yeah. And speaking of geeking out, let's venture into episode 9, Strange Allies. And we have them. They're all on the run. The crew is forced to join together as a means to an end. They think that's a lot of Maul's relationships over the years. and so we've got the return of Dryden Voss in this episode, who we learn is doing this in exchange for a new position as the head of Crimson Dawn. Darcy, what did you think of episode 9?
First off, I was disappointed to find that it wasn't Paul Bettany voicing
Yes.
Dryden Voss. It was not the Voss I'm used to, but it is cool to see that this is setting up, where we see him in Solo and or what's to come potentially. So that's cool. The episode as a whole, though, has, again, some of my favorite combats. The scene when they're trying to get away in the catacombs there, or like in the fissure, and they're fighting Merrick and Crow.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
one of the coolest like freeze frame moments. Just when the three of them are, again, pairing up and fighting together. It's weird how much Maul seemed to care for these people, because he needed to use them, so he was protecting them as hard as he could, like his brothers and stuff like that. Like, it was so interesting to see him immediately be like, this is my only way out. There are now the people I need to protect just as much as my own crew, type thing. So it was really interesting to see that turn, and then how well they work together. Like, Deck and Devin and Maul instantly picked up on each other's fighting style, and were just like, I don't know how it worked so well when they were fighting against the two brothers there, but it was so cool.
It felt like they were in sync very quickly.
Yeah.
I think I want to talk about, just really quick, the Kiners. Shout out to the Kiners when it comes to Inquisitor music.
Yeah.
Because holy crap, the low, deep chanting music anytime we see the Inquisitors on screen, it's just so badass. And I have to shout out that fight that you're talking about. Usually in a Star Wars fight, or a big Jedi Star Wars fight, it's kind of that Old West setup, right? Or the samurai setup, right? The honorable setup of fighter on this side, then fighter on this side. One draws blade, and then they go at it. But in this sequence, Merrick and Crow are running.
They come out of that tunnel so fast.
It's so sick. It's so badass. These two are. I really enjoyed their addition, just as just sort of two contemporary Sith from a combat level. I thought it was really, really cool to see. We'll talk about the situation with Merrick in just a moment, but I also want to bring up that little leg kick that Maul does before he goes into a fight. It's kind of like
He's trying. His leg has been broken. His leg's broken, so he's got to make sure it's still working properly.
You know that moment in Mission Impossible where that guy cocks his fist or whatever, like a
Henry
gun?
Cavill cocks his fist hard enough to grow a beard. Like,
Yes, yeah. Or is it a mustache or
it's a beard. He grows a
full-on
beard.
beard. Maul did not grow a beard when he cocked his leg, but no, I think the idea of using people was really interesting in this episode, and I think this is a good episode that highlights it. And even just the idea of like Rook cast, I thought it was interesting seeing Maul be like, have some respect. The guy's a Jedi. Rook cast is like, what do we do about the old man, right? And she's just being completely disrespectful. And the fact that Maul was still able to recognize that even though this person, this entity was an obstacle to him, they need him right now. And not only that, but have some respect because he should be respected.
Yeah, he is. He wields power beyond your recognition or your understanding, type thing. So, respect the man. I totally get that, and it's really cool again to see him treat him that way, and just again the way that they're working. He's looking out for these other people so quickly. Is just so you see into him, and again he sees them as useful, and immediately goes to protect them, which is so cool.
Now, let's talk about some of the deaths. These last two episodes, we've got more deaths, more moments to take these characters who, yes, I understand the show is called Maul Shadow Lord. It's about Maul. But even some of these, sort of side characters, we've found ourselves to a point where those deaths, I think, still hit. And, I want to talk about, I think the first one, if I'm not mistaken, is the Dathomirian bro. No, it's Spybot, I believe, maybe. Let's talk about Spybot, bro. Like, he was one of those characters that I'm like, I don't like. I feel like I should hate this guy, but I low key love his chaos. And when he's drowning, and he's like, "Master," I was like,
he's falling
no.
and he splits in half and says, "Matt," warbles out "Master" one last time. Yeah, I do feel for the guy, and he is just and he's like a scrappy little punk. You love the little guy type thing, and yeah, it was a death that I didn't think I feel for when it happened, but when it did, it was like, oh no, that does suck.
Yeah.
And then again, the rest of like the Mandalorians being taken out along with the Dathomirians, like they were all fighting for their lives to try and get Maul out of there, and it cost them, which is it's crazy.
Spybot did not deserve to go out the way he did.
No.
I do hope with Spybot that they maybe have maybe somehow, just maybe there's a backup of Spybot somewhere.
Hopefully that's just like the way that droid is programmed, is that spunky attitude type
Spybot 2 in season 2.
Yeah.
We got New Boots and Spybot 2. We're cooking, Darcy. We're cooking. Dathomirian bro number 2, the way that he just tackles like
he takes like 20 shots and then he's like, you know what? I'm taking them all out after throwing knives at them, like
into the acid. What a way to go. So shout out to him. And then I wanted to bring up, we get to the final section of this episode where they get to that forest and the fog is there, and it's the foggiest fog you've ever fogged. It looked like your room every now and then, and or your garage every now and then. That's what I meant to say. But Rook Cast, before we get into the big moment, Rook Cast is like, it's I can't. She runs it, and then she gets slammed to the ground.
There's something out there,
dragged back. There's something out there. She gets dragged back. I want to ask before we continue, Rook Cast, is she alive or dead? What do you think?
I think she's dead because it's Vader. I don't know if he's one to
he's taking half measures here.
Yeah, I don't know what she has that. Actually, you know what? Maybe she is around, because I'll save a theory I have for the end.
Because I was going to say, I think Rook Cast.
Star Wars rule is if you don't see it happen, it's not confirmed. Like, that's the whole thing with Star Wars. So I will give you that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think with Rook Cast, it's like she's a character that I just don't know if we got a bunch in the Clone Wars, but like I don't know if we got enough of her in this series. I think there's more to her in this series that we could have fleshed out just a little bit further. I think there's more on the plate potentially for her character. So I'm intrigued to hear about that theory. Darcy, we get to that moment. She's pulled into the fog, and dude, these creatives behind the visuals in this show. We heard that Dave Filoni had asked the entire crew, everyone behind this show, bring your everything, right? And I think there's oftentimes stories of George Lucas talking up to the different people, the different creatives who've brought us Star Wars, even beyond him bringing us Star Wars, who have talked about George saying, bring all of you to this.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about how that means not just thinking in the role that you're in, but thinking beyond that in so many different scopes and scales. And I think for the folks who did the visuals in this show, for them to think on the writing side, that creative side, to be able to showcase that moment and add so much gravity to it by taking that fog around Vader, right? We hear that breathing. He walks out slowly like a terrifying monster. And the fog goes from blue to red with the ignition of his saber. We don't even see the saber on the screen. We just see the fog light up. In our heads, as Star Wars fans, we know what that means. But then digging into it even deeper, the way that it's foreshadowing Devin's journey is so incredible. Within the next episode, the way that we're able to see that blue to red is just iconic, and it's such a phenomenal moment. And it's a moment that is going to kind of stick with me. So far, when Vader shows up, it's like it's stuck. It's stuck in your brain.
Oh, yeah.
Darcy, what did you think of this incredible final moment of episode 9?
I could not wait to hit next episode. Like, what a way to set up your finale by revealing what is a fight that everybody has wanted to see since Darth Maul was a thing. Darth Maul versus Darth Vader, who would win? And we got to see that now, or we're going to see that in the next episode. Like, that is like the way, and again, the way they reveal it is the most horrifying you can make Darth Vader out to be. You don't even see him, and he's ripping one of the fiercest warriors in the galaxy away from you. Like, so cool.
Let's talk about it. I think episode 10, we get into it, which by the way, episode 10, I think on the on Disney Plus, it's just called episode 10. And I was trying to figure out, like, what's the subtitle? Why doesn't it say the subtitle? Unless they've changed it now. Maybe they've changed it.
When I watched it, it said The Dark Lord.
Oh, really? Because when I was clicking on it, it said episode 10. So they must have changed it then by the time between us
so
watching
I watched the last episode twice.
Okay.
If you click next episode, it skips the recap and it doesn't give you the episode tag.
Oh.
When you watch it like that. But because I went back and watched it and it had a full recap of the season before it, then the Maul Shadow Lord title, and then the Dark Lord.
Well, so I saw the Dark Lord in the episode, but on the listing in the menu system of Disney
Plus, still says Dark Lord too, yeah.
It does say Dark Lord now. So when I clicked on it originally, it just said episode 10, and I'm assuming they did that because they didn't want people going to episode 9 and seeing the Dark Lord and being like, oh, okay, Vader, yeah. But we immediately kick into high gear. I felt like this episode reminded me of one of my favorite things that Star Wars can do, especially when Vader's involved, which is like when it's Vader and then Jedi fights. It's like monster movie and like anime, like a big old Dragon Ball Z anime fight, right? And I think we love getting to see different elements of Star Wars, but at the core, when we talk about playing the hits, lightsaber battles, they're the hits. It's gonna hit. Darcy, what did you think of this finale before we get to like the deaths and some of the big key moments? What did you think of the finale of Maul Shadow Lord?
Some of the coolest lightsaber fights. Again, the lightsaber fights in these two episodes are incredible, and just the way that this is like the strongest we've seen Vader at. Like he is wailing on these people. He's only using one arm. He looks like he's just casually going for a stroll and just keep fighting back 3 people at one time, just beating down these Jedi Master and a Sith Lord like nobody's business. It's so cool seeing him showcase the power at the scale, and just he's not saying a damn word. He doesn't speak at all.
I wanted to bring that up. He doesn't speak at all. Did you? I know I've seen some stuff already online. Did you like that, or did you think you would have liked him to have talked?
I really like that because again, my whole thing is if they ever fought, Vader would be so pissed off at Maul for one reason and one reason alone. He killed Qui-Gon Jinn. And that is the one thing that Anakin lived with, especially with the fact that Obi-Wan was like, what if Qui-Gon was the one who wanted to train you? I didn't. That whole thing,
Wow.
it was something that stuck with Anakin his whole life.
Darcy,
So
you saying that in my brain, I'm literally I'm seeing that moment in Phantom Menace of little Anakin looking at Qui-Gon on the pyre. Like I'm
yeah,
literally seeing that, bro. Oh my
dude.
gosh. Yeah.
So like now that like especially now that he is in as deep as he is at this point, he is full on Vader. No Anakin left at all. That's left is the rage Anakin didn't fester or like act on. So as
Mm-hmm.
soon as this like personal thing bubbles up for him, of course he's going to act on it and he's going to hunt him down with a mission. So if we do get a season 2, it is going to be Vader on a hunt for Maul and basically what's going to drive him almost to Tatooine essentially at some point, which is so cool. Like I love.
You got to imagine, right? Too, even just the fact like he's got 2 Inquisitors on this one mission. He's getting involved. You know, he's probably ignoring some sort of
he's
thing
personally
that he's supposed
invested
to be
for
doing,
sure.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And he probably thought this was going to be like, yeah, I'll just quickly touch down, take care of that, and then, you know,
He didn't expect to find 2 Jedi there either. He's like he was going for Maul, and 2 Jedi helped Maul out, and Maul used them basically. So,
huge. Let's talk about before we talk about that. I want to talk about one of the Inquisitors. Merrick gets thrown into the fog. Now we knew in Ahsoka season 1. I'm like, how many seasons of Ahsoka have there been? In Ahsoka season so far, we're waiting. We're getting there. In Ahsoka season 1, we did see Merrick. We saw Merrick get sliced in half. Smoke fog nastiness flew out of him. We were like, oh, okay, so the Night Sisters were bringing him back to life through that creepy magic, but that means he died. And so I think throughout this entire season, you know, as soon as he was introduced, we were like, we're gonna see when he dies here. I don't think this was it. Do you think this was it?
No. And Jedi have fallen and survived no issues. Again,
have been chopped
Maul
in half
did it without
fallen.
legs. I'm sure. I'm sure Merrick can do it with legs. So
yeah.
I at this point I'm wondering if Merrick's already dead because again, we haven't seen his face. He's still in the suit. Like, what's to say he wasn't just resurrected as soon as the Inquisitors became a thing? Like, you know, they were storing Jedi bodies for some purpose or something like that. What if it was just to raise them when they needed a new soldier to go after Jedi? Like, we haven't seen anything about that yet.
I like that. I felt like because he talks in this episode. I think he talked in one of the other episodes when he like kneels down. And I to me, I felt like I don't think I heard him talk in Ahsoka. So I don't know if maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I can't remember. Again, him and Crow just seemed to be they were hunters quietly pursuing their prey for as far as I was concerned.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they're. I would like him to be alive. I'd be really interested to see if we ever get to see him without a helmet. And then as for Crow, I mean, we know where Crow's arc inevitably ends up. I do think it'll be interesting if in season 2, maybe we get some subtle foreshadowing to like, you know, how did he die? He died at the hands of Ahsoka, right? And maybe this little Twi'lek might sort of remind, or she is a Twi'lek. Ahsoka's not a Twi'lek. I'm getting my species mixed up. But you know, maybe this little Twi'lek, Devin might, you know, sort of put some memories in his head, so then when he does go to face Ahsoka, you know, there could be some parallels drawn there. You know, I think there's a lot of parallels between Devin and Ahsoka that people are already drawing, and I think even with Maul being, you know, having this sort of second chance, if you will, to bring in this Padawan is interesting. Let's talk about another death, the death of Master Iko Dio Daki. He's definitely dead.
Yeah.
Do we see him as a Force ghost in the next season?
I don't know because he didn't like Force ghosts. Their body needs to disappear. His body didn't disappear, so I don't like. You need to unlock that secret before you die. Although I guess Qui-Gon didn't. Qui-Gon unlocked it after death. It depends on what level Daki's at.
Yeah.
Because if he's on the level spiritually like Qui-Gon was, he might be able to find a way post-mortem, but Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan went to the desert to go practice it before he died, so...
Yeah, I could see it being maybe like a season 3 sort of thing, or final season sort of thing of like Devin's having to make this really tough decision, and they bring him back one more time with that deep, beautiful voice. But you know, I think the way he dies is just as important, right? We see Maul in that moment. Maul killed him, right?
Yeah.
To a certain degree. He did
Yep.
that force push, made him stumble a little bit, and as he did, he retreated back, leaving Master Daki on his own. And again, I think he knows that in order to manipulate Devin to fully commit to him, Daki can no longer be in the picture, right? And I think there's that rule of two element that sort of is maybe burrowing into his brain just out of the whole Sith code situation. What do you think?
Yes, but I also see that he didn't want to lose a valuable asset because he like that was an out of like desperation and fear.
Hmm.
Because throughout the series, like we saw him when he was scared, when he was having those visions, we saw him terrified, and the same look on his face was happening after he kept getting beat back. And that final thing when he looked up, the terror in his eyes was real, and the only way out was to turn to that dark side and again fall back on plan two, I guess, which wasn't his. It didn't seem like it was his original goal. Like he was going to use Daki to a later extent.
Mm.
Originally, it felt like I don't know. It was just it was important to say, and the fact that Lawson saw it happen, I think, is also a major thing that will come back in some way.
Well, I mean, let's talk about Brander Lawson because will that matter? We see,
He's not dead.
he's not dead. Okay, when you go into the fog and you don't
When you
see,
go into the fog and the lasers are crisscrossing above your head and nowhere near pointing at you, I think you're fine.
they are stormtroopers after all.
I know, right?
So he goes in, he sacrifices himself. I agree with you. I don't think he's dead, but I do think that Oscar nominated Wagner Mora is probably a busy guy. I think he's
Hmm.
probably pretty expensive to have as a series regular. And I understand it's Star Wars and they got Star Wars money and Disney money and
Hmm.
yada yada, but it's still a streaming series. We have to remember that. So do you think we see him in season 2? Do you think it's a scaled back situation in season 2? Do we eventually see him maybe in a future season and we just sort of leave it for a little while?
I can see it being like an end of season reveal going
Yeah.
forward, where it's like, oh, it turns out because we're following like Riley and Devin as they're with Maul,
Hmm.
and Riley's convinced Two Boots to let him do his own thing and not go back to his mom, blah blah blah. But I can see it being a thing where like Vader has kept Brander and potentially Rook cast as prisoners to try and track down Maul and figure out where he's going or what their next plan is, type thing.
Interesting.
Maybe use him as leverage. I don't know. Vader Maul getting away from Vader in this episode, I think really implies that like Vader will start using anything he can to track down Maul. Like he is too slippery to let loose again. So he's gonna do his best to track him down going forward, which is interesting considering he's going into the syndicate. Again, I can't wait to see where this story goes if we get more.
100%. 100%. Let's talk about one of the sort of the final moments with Devin. I think that moment of Devin saying, "I will kill them," and that
With the distortion.
bro.
Oh yeah.
What a phenomenal moment. And I think, again, the sound design in the show has been so good. But for them to take that to me, that was the vocal equivalent of bleeding a kyber crystal. Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like that
Yeah.
was the vocal equivalent of just like that's the dark side. That's the pure rage that Maul is going for. And it's interesting to sort of see because in that moment, I think earlier in the episode, there's a moment where Devin is trying to figure out what to do. And it's almost like it literally feels like a devil angel situation with Master Daki and Maul like both talking to her.
Patience,
and like
no, aggression is the way. Like
it's just like I was like straight up. And so the moment that Daki is gone, that perspective is now just fully flowing through her because he's gone. That rage comes through and it talks, again, Yoda and the Jedi, the way that they talk about, loss and why we can't have these attachments and what have you for these reasons, because it pushes people to the dark side. I think it's going to be really interesting to see in the future how Maul is able to take that and manipulate that and use that to his advantage. But at the same time, what is that going to do to Devin in terms of her own power, in terms of her own abilities? And what a phenomenal sort of just character moment with that sound design. And he says, you're not strong enough yet, but I will train you. And then he said, Darcy, He says the line. He says the thing. And it's great because this is the first time, I think, I'm pretty sure, maybe I'm wrong. I think this is the first time Sam Witwer is saying
Huh?
this line of we will have our revenge. Right? I'm pretty sure. I think he says
I
revenge
think
a
so.
lot.
He
But
says revenge a lot, so it's hard to remember. But I
but
do think that this is the first moment where
right?
we get that callback. Yeah,
That callback. Peter Serafinowicz with, we will have our revenge. And it's like
yeah.
cool, dope, awesome, but just to hear it from Sam Witwer from this version of Maul, so good.
Yeah.
Darcy,
Well,
you go
I
ahead.
also I have something to say about the whole Devon thing because I don't think we were talking about like what it'll do for her power. I don't see her fully turning. Again, the way that she kind of smiles a bit to herself before saying "I'm ready," she's using Maul right now to get the power she needs to go and seek vengeance. I don't think she's going to do everything Maul says. He's just a means to an end. And again, the fact that Lawson is potentially out there and still alive, he could easily be like, Maul pushed your master. Why don't you seek revenge on him? And now she will have her revenge in two ways, essentially, if she can kill Maul and Vader. But we know both those things aren't true. But still, cool potential story arc there. And it'll be interesting to see where she goes. Because again, her master, she listened to, like, Daki was very important to her. I don't think she's one to completely shed that connection in his lessons entirely.
Well, and so, and even earlier you brought up the fact that Brander saw the push,
Mm-hmm.
so that could easily be something that, puts that little seed of dissension, right? Maybe we do get more of a fully committed Devon to Maul situation. I wanted to
hear
ask
that revelation. Yeah.
I wanted to ask in relation to people are bringing up another Twi'lek, a Darksider Twi'lek that's in Legends. Darth,
Okay, my Legends is about Rusty, so
yeah, Talon or something. I think is maybe there was some suggested future development. I don't even know if this was written, but that George Lucas would have wanted Maul and Darth Talon to work together in sort of a buddy cop dynamic.
Yes.
As tattooed Sith together.
I do believe that was the case. Again, I the last time I read Legend stuff when I was like 13, 14 years old. So it's been some time, but I think that was something that happened, which is really cool to see that we're getting something like this. Cause I know everyone at Disney has been rejecting Mara Jade because that's someone everybody wants to see brought to the universe in some way, shape, or form, and they keep saying no. So if this is the way that we can start getting some more of those legend stories, or having stories kind of inspired by those legends, it's a really neat thing to do because some of those legend stories are really cool sci-fi that just happen to take place in Star Wars. So there's some.
I think it kind of showcases exactly that, Darcy. It's not. I think this is the Disney creative team, Dave Filoni, more or less saying not yet rather than no to a lot of those ideas.
Yes.
Right. And I think it's about finding the right way to tell those stories. And even if we never do get an official Mara Jade, to your point, maybe we'll have a character that people go, oh, it kind of feels like the Mara
definitely
Jade
Mara
I
Jade
remember
coded
reading
type thing. Yeah.
Darcy, before we wrap up, I wanted to, we never gave an official score for this season because we've only seen, the first 8 episodes when we were doing our review. I'm going to give the shortest review, final thoughts that I'll ever give. This is a solid 5 out of 5. It's some of Lucasfilm's best storytelling. Can't wait for season 2. Darcy?
Yeah, I concur. 5 out of 5. Watch it.
Even short, yeah. Whoa, you got even shorter than me. That's crazy. Darcy, well, that's too short then. What's next? What is next? You said you might have had a bit of a theory.
Well, again, we're going to see how he gets to being where he was at the end of Solo, which is in a position of power over Dryden Voss, or there's still a partnership. So something's going to happen where they're going to work together. Whether or not Devon stays with him is now the question, because I don't know what happens. Again, it's up in the air. My whole thing is that my biggest story thing is that I think Lawson is coming back. Like the wandering into a cloudy mist with like bad stormtroopers shooting at you, like you're alive for sure in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Okay. I am going to make a safe prediction.
Okay.
My safe prediction is that, well, it might not be Emilia Clarke. Kira will be in
Yes.
season 2.
Yes.
And my wild card prediction is that they'll hint at Han Solo
What'd be interesting is if season 2 leads up to what happens in
in
Solo, where
Solo
season 3 could pick up
directly.
after.
Yeah. Oh, dude. And that's the other thing, too, is like, could this series potentially explore after that movie, right? After what happens to Dryden Voss?
I think it has to, because to me, the story of Maul, where it's unexplained, is how he gets to Tatooine in Rebels. Like, how did he end up there, and why was he so close to Kenobi without seeking out revenge earlier, type thing? Like, what led him to where he was at that point? Because he is not the broken man or hermit kind of that we see in Rebels at all yet. Like, he is still seeking vengeance and trying to fight, whereas by the time Rebels comes around, he's looking for a new tool to just send out in the universe, and while he hides in the shadows because he can't fight on his own anymore. Like,
Because he is the Shadow Lord.
yes. So how does he become that? How does he get to that point fully?
I love that. I love that. Oh, man. Okay, so I think time jumps. We got to get some time jumps
Yes.
at some
Yes.
point, whether it's in this next season or halfway through or at the end. That is it, Darcy, for our spoiler-filled discussion for Star Wars Maul, Shadow Lord. There is a season 2. It has been confirmed, and I cannot wait till we get to see what it entails. We hope you enjoyed this spoiler-filled discussion. If you want to share your thoughts on this series or any of the movies or series we cover, well, let me just encourage Darcy to give into his rage and have him offer all the ways you can reach out to us through the Force.
I don't think you want me angry because I've just been like yelling at them, and I don't think anyone wants that.
Give into his hanger, like his hunger.
No, I'd still be pretty loud. You've heard me when I'm hungry, so I'll just
true.
tell them normally. If they want to reach out to us, they can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com, or they can reach us on Twitter at geekcentricyt or on Instagram at wearegeekcentric.
I could feel the rage flowing through you there. That was good.
I don't know, I'm pretty chill, man. I just talk Star Wars. I'm in a good mood.
Keep in mind, we have a ton of other great episodes covering the latest in movies and TV shows, including all of our recent. We have some other spoiler-filled discussions, like one I mentioned earlier for Daredevil: Born Again Season 2. I know that show, that season 2 has wrapped, I believe, as of today. So that should be out soon, or by the time you're listening to this. We also have a spoiler-filled review and discussion for Invincible Season 4. And we have spoiler-free reviews for movies like the Super Mario Galaxy movie, Project Hail Mary, and Prime Video's Young Sherlock. Plus, we've also got some great interviews to check out. And, if you like this show, Maul Shadow Lord, well, listen, you should check out our interviews with the cast and crew. Justin spoke to Maul himself, Sam Witwer, as well as Devin Gideon Adlon, about the series, about their characters, and about sort of what they felt comfortable sharing at the time that they talked. They seemed, especially Gideon felt, I think, a little nervous in her first sort of major Star Wars junket, not knowing what she could or couldn't talk about, but it's still a great conversation. Great to hear them talk about their characters. And he also spoke with Athena Yvette Portillo, Matt Michnovitz, and supervising director Brad Rao about the incredible art style the series has, its darker tone, and the inspirations that shaped the crime-driven story. So check out those interviews as well as all of our interviews, either here on your podcast service of choice or over on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric. But that's it for now, Darcy. But listen, the darkness, it still looms as we head into coverage for Spider-Man Noir. And then things are going to get a little bit light, Darcy. It's going to get a little light green, a little tiny baby green, as Star Wars returns to theaters with The Mandalorian and Grogu. Darcy, how dope is it going to be to watch a Star Wars movie in the theaters again?
It's so excited, man. After watching the finale of Kenobi on the big screen, I'm ready for another Star Wars movie.
Dude, I remember you guys went to go see that in the theaters, and we've seen some other Star Wars stuff show up on the big screen, but this is a full-on movie. So exciting. You best believe we're going to be covering that in both the spoiler-free and spoiler-filled capacity. So stick with us as we enjoy all things geeky, because we are Geekcentric and you can be too. Darth Darcy. Thank you so much for joining me for this dark-sided spoiler-filled discussion. And as we say, love ya.
Laters.